Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today in this video I would like to cover some of the key points uh, to help those students who are searching for programs or universities for their higher education. Um, a lot of time people would suggest you that look for the ranking of the university for any higher education endeavor that you would like to take on. I do not have anything against it, but before you think about or consider the ranking of any university, most important thing in my opinion would be the research focus, the facility and the faculty. When you search any program online, always read about their research focus, what they are working on, what are the current projects, recent papers. Try to familiarize with what they have been up to lately. Secondly, the facility, what kind of equipment they have. So if you have any idea, anything that you would like to work on, at least you need to know the faculty who is working there, or the PIs, the principal investigator, the researcher, the professors, what kind of lab they have. Eventually, if you join that lab, you would be working in, utilizing those facilities. So better, find out now than later. The third point, so if you go the way I described now, was of course the first one was the research focus, second facility, faculty. When I say faculty, means what is their standing in the research community overall. Fourth might be the ranking of the university, but keep in mind, if the university ranking is that high, that does not mean the department is also not very high. What it means, sometimes the university ranking would be in the top 50, but the department ranking in the whole scenario of in that particular program may not be as high. So if you take computer science, maybe the university is in top 50, but computer science department or the engineering department not be even in the first 500 universities globally. So you have to keep those things in mind. Don't just fall into the cracks of this different terminology. Sometimes the university ranking is high, but the department is low. It can be the other way around. You may think the university is not as high ranking as you think or you wish it would be, but contrary to that, the department might be very high ranking globally. And the last is the professor. If the professor is very famous, or he's very actively involved in research, and he has very great research papers published, then university ranking, department ranking does not matter. What matters is how that professor will train you. So I would rather suggest you go to any professor who is very famous. And when I say famous, that does not mean he just got famous for nothing. That means he worked hard and he has a very great track record of research, grants, papers that would definitely give you an edge to be trained by such person. One last thing, well, not really the last one. Search universities in the small cities. Sometimes these professors who are very, have great ideas, they are very, enthusiastic, very dynamic, they prefer to go to small universities, and the reason is because they get less politics there, less stress, and they have a lot of authorities. So they would rather go, build or start their lab there, where they will find very less resistance as compared to any big famous university. If they go there, definitely he would or she would not be the only one. There will be other people who try to be establishing themselves, and yes, believe me or not, but politics is everywhere, and and some of them they try to avoid by going to small universities. So when I say small, means they're not small by numbers, meaning you may not know them, so you would have to Google it, you would have to find through other means. Same goes for selecting this for a student as well. If you go to any big famous university, know or keep that in mind, you will have a very high competition getting in. And if you are somebody who has all the guts and the profile, definitely go there. You will have other peers who would be as smart as you are, and it helps you develop even further. But of course, it comes with stress, of course, politics, a lot of other constraints. So bigger universities, famous universities, high-ranking universities are good, but of course they have these drawbacks that you would have to deal with so many other unwanted circumstances that you would not want to be in. as compared to any other universities who are not very famous, high ranking, average, or even sometimes below average universities. They offer you much more, and you have a lot of authorities in terms of utilizing the facility, and also you do not have that much of a constraint in those universities, because there are not too many researchers, and the labs are not utilized 24/7. In some labs or in some universities who are top 5, 10, or 15, 20, they usually have very high number of researchers, and you get less time spending in the lab, because there are other people who have to perform their research as well. So with all these points, what I want you to think about is ranking is not the only thing. There are so many other things that you have to keep in mind. I just wanted to keep it short and sweet, so you guys can get some pointer out of it. If needed, I would do one more video based on all the comments that I get. And now the question comes: how would you search these universities, the one which are not famous? Well, you can go any scientific websites, Google it. You can register or put your email there, so you get so many updates from these different websites, and also magazines, friends, searching through common names, whatever your research area of interest is, and then try these different areas. One suggestion I would like to give, and this is especially for the US, is if you're looking for any universities where you think it will be an average, not very high competition, and the acceptance rate may be higher as compared to other, is southern part of states of the United States. So all the south states, that you may have higher chances, and I'm sure same goes for any other countries, Germany, Europe, England. You would find some areas which are not famous, so definitely that not many people apply there. It does not mean I do not want you to not to be competitive. It means you should also apply there. In case if you don't get into any higher ranking universities, you have at least some safer universities where you can get a little bit higher acceptance rate. This is of course all was for PhD. For master's, same thing goes. If you go for any program which is mediocre, program in any mediocre or average universities, you get a higher chances of getting TA-ship, which is teacher assistant, research assistantship, and the stress is less there. Why I keep bringing this one term again and again is, if you have funding, you are not paying out of your pocket, you would rather pay much more attention to the studies and research and put your heart and minds versus if you go to any university which is very expensive, even you get some partial funding there, you will always have the stress of you have to pay this fees, you have to cover your expenses, and it does really affect your studies, which eventually would be result in a low grade or low GPA, and this is not something that you would wish to attain, especially in very competitive environment. So I hope I answer so many or address so many common things or topics. If you have any question, please leave marks in the comments, and hopefully if needed I can do another video. I hope good luck for all those who are applying, and Assalamu alaikum, Allah Hafiz.